One of Shonen Jump's biggest hits of the last few years has been Sakamoto Days, an action comedy about, well, Sakamoto, a former assassin who, upon meeting the love of his life, decided to give up his life of killing in order to run a convenience store and have a family and grow fat and just enjoy the simple life. Unfortunately, all this changes when a massive bounty is put on his head and he is forced to go back into a life of fighting and not killing, because if he kills, his wife will not be happy. Now, this on its own sounds like a pretty fun premise, and yeah, a fun premise sometimes can get you there. This is one of the biggest, most popular manga in the world right now. So needless to say, when an adaptation was announced, people got hyped. People got excited. And not just because they were ready to see their new favorite story and their new favorite characters come to life, but because other Shonen Jump comedy titles of the last few years have been getting better and better adaptations. Whether it's Kaguya-sama Love is War or the world-renowned Spy Family, the era of cheap-looking gag comedy shonen titles is over, and we are ready for Sakamoto Days to take that next step and be that next visual masterpiece. Am I right, everybody? If you're here, you probably know that didn't quite happen. Because when Sakamoto Days premiered, one of the first big reactions was not reacting to the characters or the story, it was to the visuals. Many people felt that the anime completely missed the mark on the manga's art style, and that it pales in comparison into its contemporaries. And, well, having watched all of Sakamoto Days, I really liked this. I thought this was actually a very good, strong comedic series that I looked forward to every week. But I also have the caveat of I did not read the manga. That's right, I went into this as a dirty anime only. I, of course, know of the series and how popular it is. How could you not? But I'm not coming in here with any preconceived notion of what it should be, besides just hoping for it to be funny. And as far as I'm concerned, I thought this was very funny. And we're going to talk about why. But above all else today, the big point to this video is I want to be that guy who is just taking the show for what it is. I will talk about how it compares to its other contemporaries visually, but above all else, I want to give Sakamoto Days its due and just treat it as the comedy I got to experience. So, without further ado, let's get into, well, the characters, because I cleverly put the premise in the intro. See, I'm always figuring out ways to make these videos a little bit different, huh? But yeah, so, in my opinion, one of the strongest elements of Sakamoto Days are its characters. Namely, Sakamoto himself, I think is such a perfect combination of simplistic, but also just kind of awesome. I mean, look at this guy. Look how kind of funny and goofy he is. Like, he's always quiet. He doesn't move a lot. He just kind of is there, and there's something kind of great about that. But, and what I think this show does a great job of, is when it is time for him to do cool stuff, when it is time to move and fight and be clever, I think the series illustrates this very well. Rather, it's showing how he plans things, how he sets things up, how he executes things. There is a lot of effort put into this aspect of the story. I think a lot of it is also done by the performance. I elected to watch the English dub of this because, well, it was the first thing on Netflix and I was too lazy to change the language settings. And in my opinion, Matthew Mercer does a great job of when Sakamoto talks, which he doesn't always do, he always sounds like he's saying something important. Like everything he says is either furthering what he's trying to do or is funny in that sort of deadpan, dry delivery he does that Matthew Mercer just does so goddamn well. The rest of the cast is also great. Rather, it's Shin the sidekick, this fun psychic guy who just kind of is learning from Sakamoto to enjoy the much more easier life. Or it's Lou, who's kind of this aloof martial arts Chinese mob boss daughter character. Everyone in this is great. Special shout out though to Aoi, the wife. Why? Because the idea that this woman had the ability to tame the most deadly man on the planet and then keeps him under control and at bay and in check by the simple fact of, if you go back to killing people, we're out of here, bitch, is actually really great. And also the fact they do a good job of always showing how Sakamoto always takes her seriously and listens to her, and how she is also intelligent. You see how she is able to deduce what's going on when she does figure out what's going on, how she handles it and keeps everything in control. This is fucking wife goals, man. Wife goals, I say. But of course, great characters also need to be put in great scenarios, and all the scenarios they go through in this show, I think, are a lot of fun. Rather it's having to fight off an army of assassins at a carnival, rather it's having to, investigate a crazy underground laboratory. There is always just something fun and wacky going on, and because they took the time to establish the characters and their personalities, I'll watch them do anything. You could literally make an episode where they just gotta go to the grocery store and I would watch it. Fuck, that feels like something they would do in this. And yeah, all of these elements I think come together to make for, in my opinion, one of the best anime of the winter season. You see, I'll be honest, I don't always necessarily need the best visuals in the world. For me, I am much more interested in characters and how they're written and the scenarios they go, and the comedy revolving around that is on point. It is very well handled, and yeah, there's a lot of great funny moments from it, and it comes from the fact that I just love watching these characters do pretty much anything. But of course, we should probably now talk about the animation, because it is worth talking about, and for me, I thought it was fine. Honestly, again, I don't have the manga to compare it to. Maybe it is the so-called amazing action series a lot of people say it is, and I will not deny that is very possible. But for me, this is a gag comedy first. And the use of traditional quick editing techniques and quick cuts and all of that, I think felt intentional. I'm sure budget and time and all the usual things that get in the way of an adaptation, I'm sure were there, but look at Sakamoto. Look at the way he talks. Look at the way he interacts with the world. This is a very quick-witted, fast-moving, do everything as quick and efficient possible man as possible. You get the point. The point is that the visual style is reflecting the way Sakamoto does things. Quick, efficient, and punchy. Maybe it doesn't work all the time, but it is intentional. If we were to compare the shows to the two big obvious comparisons, the one I mentioned, Kaguya-sama and Spy Family, the differences and the way they are presented, I think, play a bigger role in this than just one looks better than the other. In Kaguya-sama, a big aspect of the show is how the two leads are constantly overthinking everything. Every little detail is overanalyzed. All those big sweeping shots and big visual moments, they're not there to be lauded over on social media about, oh my God, look at this animation. They're there for a purpose. You're inside Kaguya's brain as she's constantly figuring out how to overthink everything and make everything according to what she wants. Spy Family is a Bond parody. The big, exciting animation is done with purpose. It is replicating and aping the style of big spy epics from the time period the show is based on. And also, Anya's epicness in her own head about her own adventures needs to be replicated in that as well. That's also not to say these shows don't have shortcuts to get around their animation. In Kaguya-sama's case, a lot of the scenes are in the school, and particularly the student council office, so it's very easy to recycle backgrounds and thus be able to put more effort into those big visual moments. Spy Family has the advantage of Anya has a very simple facial design, so all those iconic meme faces can feel that much better because they can be done quickly, so more time can be put on what is needed for other scenes. All shows have to figure out how to work within limitations and come up with ways to balance out what they do. You may not like that decision, And you may think Sakamoto Days isn't as good as it could be visually. Hell, I'll even agree. There are moments in the show, in particular, the look of the animation and the color they go with, I think could have been better. I do wholeheartedly believe there are things you could have done differently, maybe to put this on another level. But for what it's trying to do, I think it looks fine. It's not going to win Animation of the Year by any stretch of the imagination, but I think for what a lot of these jokes are trying to do and trying to be, I think the more traditional gag-style comedy animation, I think works perfectly fine for what we're going for. But yeah, in the comment section below, give me your thoughts on Sakamoto Days. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Was the visual style too much for you? At least tell me you gave it a try. But yeah, that's it for this week. And next week, we're going to totally talk about the best anime of the year and try to have that video out on April 1st, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink.